What is your relationship with failure? There's a lot of talk on social media from gurus talking about that failure is the answer, but that's not the whole story. We need to be able to learn from failure and get failure to work for us. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you my framework on how you can make sure that failure is working for you and driving high performance. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Leadership Project. If you caught my last episode with Jason Shapert, you know we had an eye-opening talk about failure. What it really takes to bounce back, to learn, and to turn setbacks into success. But today I want to take that conversation a step further and unpack some of my own reflections on failure, learning and growth, and give you a framework on how to make sure that failure is working for you. Here's the thing, failure is romanticized all over social media. You hear phrases like, fail fast, fail forward. Failure is the path to success. Embrace failure, it's a gift. And while there's truth in that, failure alone doesn't make you successful. The real question is, what do you do with that failure? Let's start with manifestation, the missing piece. A while back, I had the pleasure of talking to Dr. John Demartini on the show, and we spoke about the power of intention, focus, and belief. The idea that when you align your actions with your values and consistently visualize success, you naturally move towards it. But manifestation isn't about thinking your way to success, it's about putting in the work. You don't just sit back and wait for success to come to you. You set the intention, you take action, and you adapt along the way. And this is where failure comes into this. Because failure is not a sign to stop. It's a signal to pivot, adjust, and move forward with new knowledge. That's the real game. And that's where manifestation will find a way. When you're intently focused on what you're trying to achieve in life and aligned with your values, you will bounce back and you will learn from that failure and make pivots towards the goal that you're trying to achieve. So what is this relationship with failure, and why do so many of us have a funny relationship with failure? Most of us have been conditioned to fear failure. From a young age, we're taught that failing is bad, making mistakes at work. We learn to associate failure with shame, with embarrassment, or incompetence. But here's the truth, we have to fail to learn. And as leaders, sometimes that means letting our people fail too. We have to let them scrape their knees. We can't protect them all the time. We can't protect our teams, our employees, or even our kids from every mistake. In fact, if we do, we rob them of the opportunity to learn and grow. It's not until they touch that stove that they really learn that you don't touch a stove that's hot. But again, failing isn't enough. Just failing over and over doesn't mean you're getting any better. You need two things. You need to learn from the failure, take the lesson, analyze what went wrong, and understand what needs to change. And the second step, you need to then apply that learning. Knowledge without action is useless. The real shift happens when you take that lesson and you integrate it into what you do next. Self-reflection becomes your superpower at this point. The best leaders, the best performers in any field don't just experience failure and move on. They take the time to review, analyze, and adjust. So after the game, after the meeting, after whatever it is your team have just done, you need to, whether it was a failure or a success, reviewing both our wins and losses about what worked, what didn't work, and what can we tweak. And for those that have listened to the show for a while, you know that I've been doing this practice for close to 12 years now. I ask myself the same 5 questions at the end of every day. What went well? What didn't go well? What would I do differently next time? What did I learn about myself? And what did I learn about others? And the final step is about resilience. It's about letting go. This is the final piece of the conversation, the ability to let failure go. Once you've learned from it, once you've applied the lesson, you have to move on, or it's going to be stuck in your head and you're going to let past failures define you. When I think about this, Roger Federer instantly comes to mind, one of the greatest tennis players of all time. And one of Federer's greatest strengths wasn't his skill with a racket. That was amazing, but there was other players in the world that know how to wield a racket. It was his ability to move on after a mistake, or even things that are out of his control. So if he'd lost a point, he didn't dwell on it. He didn't carry it with him onto the next point. He reset and he moved forward. He learned from it and went, oh, that was an interesting point. Learning about his opponent through every point, learning about the conditions, learning about his own game, and making minor little corrections along the way, adjusting to what the situation called for, but not letting the failure get into his head. So the crazy stat here is that Roger Federer won 80% of tennis matches in his professional career, 80%. And yet he only won 54% of the points that he played. And the thing that set him apart from everyone else was his ability to let that point go, to learn from it, and then let it go and play the next point. You can't change what has already happened. You can only change what you do from this moment onward. So, my challenge to you this week, reflect on a recent failure. Think about what it was and what you can learn from it. More importantly, what are you actually going to do with that learning? How are you going to apply it? What are you going to do differently next time? Little tweaks. And how are you going to let it go? Or are you going to carry it around with you like some kind of heavy baggage, or weighing you down every day? Or are you going to let it go? Failure isn't a badge of honor unless you turn it into something meaningful. So what you need to do is fail, learn, adapt, and then keep moving forward. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send us a message. Share us your biggest takeaways. Tell us about your relationship with failure. Put a comment underneath if you're watching this on YouTube. Tell us about your relationship with failure and how you get failure to work for you in a framework similar to what we've shared today. In the next episode, we're going to be joined by the amazing Andrea Sampson. Andrea is a TED-trained speaking coach, and she's going to talk to us about the art and science of storytelling. We all know that storytelling works, but many of us have limiting beliefs about our own storytelling techniques or our own storytelling ability, and we don't always know how to begin. So she's going to share with us a much simpler framework for how we can embrace the art and science of storytelling.